After finishing my part-time job on a late shift, I was walking down the night streets. My exhaustion had doubled because, upon returning from shopping in the afternoon, I was compelled to assist my daughter-in-law, Amy, with preparations for a party I couldn't even attend. But it was for the celebration of my granddaughter, Anna. And the thought of Sam, Anna's brother, being happy was enough to keep my spirits up. Passing by the side of the house, I noticed the lights were still on. Looking at the clock, it was already past 9 p.m. It was nearly time to put Sam to bed. Thinking this, as I glanced back at the house, a sight that I could hardly believe appeared before me. There sat Sam, alone in the yard, gazing into the room. Why was Sam outside? Sam, what's happened? As I rushed over, Sam gave a relieved smile, and then, the next moment, his face crumpled as he burst into tears. What happened? Why are you out here all by yourself? Sam, looking like he wanted to say something, began with an apologetic tone. It's Anna's birthday today, but it's just a family celebration, so I was told I shouldn't join in, he murmured between sobs. How could they? Unable to bear it, I silently took Sam by the arm and started walking out of the gate. Once again, something that shouldn't have happened did. You've been outside without eating anything since noon, haven't you? Grandma got tired from work too, and I'm hungry. Let's go get something delicious to eat. I spoke in my usual cheerful tone, trying to reassure Sam. Sensing something, Sam responded brightly. Leaving Sam alone at a diner late at night, I stood up from our table. Pretending to head to the drink station, I took out my cell phone. I haven't called in quite a while, but I wonder if it'll connect. After several rings, a puzzled voice answered, "Hello." I introduced myself and apologized for calling so late, then briefly explained the situation Sam was in. The person on the phone said, "I'll head over right away," and hung up. After a while, a woman entered the diner alone. Glancing towards the entrance and raising my hand, the woman noticed and hurried over to our table. With a look of a who, Sam gazed up at her, and she, unable to hold back her tears, embraced him. "Mom, are you?" "My name is Nancy. I'm 57 years old. My husband passed away a year ago, and I live in the house he left behind. My family consists of one son, his wife, and 2 grandchildren, making us a family of 5. It's a complicated story, but my son, Matt, is divorced, and his wife, Amy, is his second spouse. My older grandchild, Sam, is the child of my son's previous wife, and thus has no blood relation to Amy or my younger grandchild, Anna. 3 years ago, after being cheated on by his first wife, Matt came back to this house with Sam. At that time, Sam, still adjusting to this unfamiliar home, became emotionally unstable in search of his mother's presence. He was just 2 years old. Seeing Sam like that, I diligently took care of him. The following year, Matt brought his girlfriend, Amy, home. "Mom, I've decided to get married again," to her, he said, surprising me with the sudden news. I thought he was rarely home because of work and such, but this was the reason. My own son was out, leaving his emotionally unstable child behind. Despite him being my own son, I was too appalled to say anything. And, she's pregnant. I was further shocked by this additional news. I know this is sudden, but we hope for your support. It's a hassle to look for a new place, and this house is spacious with extra rooms, so we thought we'd continue living here. That's okay, right? What a brazen attitude. But knowing there was a child on the way, how could I have turned them down? And so, life with my son and his family, including my grandchildren, began. I wasn't sure about Matt's previous wife since they lived apart, but Amy didn't do much housework. Seeing her getting along with Sam, I assumed she couldn't be all bad. However, she used her pregnancy as an excuse to leave all the housework to me. Honestly, I was working part-time and had asked her to help out a little with the chores. But she would always have an excuse like, "I have terrible morning sickness," or "My stomach hurts too much." Faced with these complaints, I couldn't force her to do anything. She seemed fine to me, but I knew the difficulties of pregnancy vary from person to person, so I couldn't say anything. It feels like I'm being taken advantage of. Though I felt this way, my husband, who always listened to me, was no longer here. When she says she's suffering, you should be more considerate, not worried about such things. Nowadays, no one likes a harsh mother-in-law anyway. Is dinner ready yet? I tried talking to Matt about my concerns, but he dismissed me with that one response. So sorry for bothering you with such things, comma. Every day was a struggle to suppress the heavy feelings inside. During these trying times, Aina was born. When Sam was born, because I lived far away, I couldn't visit often. Having a baby close by is such a joy. Of course, it's not that I didn't love Sam. Witnessing the birth of a new life, Sam's eyes sparkled with excitement. The pride of becoming a big brother. He was determined to protect his little sister. I could feel such thoughts emanating from him. I swore in my heart to love both of these young ones equally, without comparison. As Aina's upbringing began, Amy became increasingly harsh towards Sam day by day. She hadn't borne Sam herself, and with the birth of her own daughter Aina, it's likely her affection gravitated more towards her. Some people get irritable after childbirth, so maybe it was unavoidable to some extent, I thought. It was up to me to make up for it by supporting Sam more. I decided to let it be, convincing myself of this, but Amy's attitude only worsened. Yet Sam, wanting to believe in Amy, who had been kind to him before, tried to help out more and catch her attention in any way he could. One day, when I came home from my morning part-time job, I could hear Amy screaming, loud enough to be heard outside. "Why can't you do something this simple? You've just made more work for me," she scolded, apparently reprimanding Sam. When I went to see what happened, it looked like he had accidentally turned over the can of baby formula. Well, he's just a child, and there's no need to be that angry, isn't it enough that he wants to help?" I tried to soothe Amy. But she retorted, "Please, Nancy, stay out of this. If you're going to interfere, then you clean up the spilled formula." She was not listening. Even if by marriage, the feeling of a child being yelled at by their mother is immeasurable. Sadness, frustration, regret. Seeing Sam holding back tears and struggling with so many emotions, I was overwhelmed with sympathy. "Don't worry, Grandma will clean this up, Sam, you've done a lot of hard work." After comforting and calming Sam with a hug, I cleaned up the milk powder that had turned the floor white. If Aina made such a mess, it would just be a no-no. As the big brother, he really can't do anything right, huh? Amy glanced at us disdainfully before speaking to Aina, who couldn't yet understand words, without even looking at Sam. I was desperate to contain my anger towards Amy, who ignored Sam. At dinner, when I noticed Sam's absence, I asked Amy about him. "Where's Sam?" "I don't know, maybe he ran away from home after I scolded him earlier." "There's no way that could be true. Sam is only 4 years old. Where would he run away to?" Just then, Matt came home. When I told him, "I can't find Sam," he replied, "He's a boy, maybe he went to the nearby park. Anyway, hi there, Aina," showing no sign of worry. "Even if he's a boy, it's already past 7 p.m. Wouldn't he be worried even if Sam had gone to the nearby park alone?" Watching the two of them start on the meal I prepared, I rushed outside. The nearby park, the path to the kindergarten, the supermarket we always go to for shopping. I searched all the places I could think of, but Sam was nowhere to be found. He might have come back home by now. Thinking this, I returned home and was about to open the front door, when I heard a sound like metal being struck from the direction of the yard. Our yard isn't very large, but there's a small shed. It seems the sound is coming from there. Surely not, it can't be. Approaching cautiously, I heard the sound of the shed door being hit and a faint voice. "Sam, is that you, Sam?" When I flung the door open, there sat Sam, his face swollen from crying, sobbing in a heap. How could this happen? Rushing home with Sam in my arms to have dinner with the two who must be waiting. And there they are, exchanging awkward glances at my furious expression. What in the world is going on? I demand, still clutching the sobbing Sam. Well, this is, I just heard from Amy about." Matt stammers, receiving a sharp glare from me, before Amy, unabashed, speaks up. "It's Sam's fault, he ruined Aina's milk." What are they talking about? Just for a small mistake, they locked him in the storage. How can you hear that and pretend you don't know, still able to eat your dinner? I end up raising my voice unintentionally. What are you talking about? You're the one who let such a small child ruin the milk. And even then, this is too much, don't you have any sense of being a mother? At my fierce tone, Matt tries to intervene. Well, let's all calm down a bit. Amy's just tired and frustrated from taking care of Ana. Please, let's be a bit more understanding. If you knew about it, you're just as guilty, locking a 4-year-old in such a cramped, dark place. I was at a loss for words at the end. Well, I did try to stop it, thinking it was too much. It seems Matt is trying to put all the blame on Amy alone. Amy glares at Matt. Before thinking of stopping her, shouldn't you first let Sam out? Are you even his father? In front of the silent pair, I drive another nail in. If something like this ever happens again, I'll have you both leave this house. But that's... Matt flounders, while Amy looks down, not meeting anyone's eyes. Thinking this should prevent any recurrence, I didn't spare them another glance. After, I bathed Sam, fed him the reheated dinner, and tucked him into a warm bed. All the while, Sam was desperately defending the two of them. It's my fault for making Mom angry, so it's not Mom's fault. Dad just got home from work too, and he was hungry because he's tired. Hearing Sam's brave words made me feel even worse for him. And I decided never to take my eyes off their actions again. After all, there were no words of apology from them, but more than that, I was worried about Sam's physical and mental state. Despite what he went through, Sam always helped out as usual and never lost his smile, no matter what. I don't know if it was because I was constantly watching their actions or if they truly reflected. But it seemed that since then, there were no more terrible treatments towards Sam. Though there were times when Amy made Sam do too much or was harsh to him, Sam himself said, "Grandma, I'm okay. I want to be helpful to Mom. Plus, Ana is cute, I'm the big brother, so I need to be strong," which was so brave that I couldn't say anything. Interfering too much could worsen Amy's mood and possibly lead her to mistreat Sam again. I wanted to avoid that at all costs. But contrary to my worries, their attitude towards Sam returned to how it was before Ana was born. It seems peace has returned despite my concerns. Eventually, I too felt relieved and returned to our usual life. 2 months had passed since that dreadful incident. Our days were completely peaceful again. One day, my part-time jobs manager asked me to change my shift. I usually work only in the mornings, but it seems they couldn't secure enough staff for the evening until close. After Sam's incident, I had already cut back on my part-time days, and being someone who can't say no when asked, I decided to take it on. Aren't you going to your part-time job today, Nancy? Since I'm usually not home at this time, Amy seems curious and strikes up a conversation. There's been a shift change today, I'm working from the evening, so I'm counting on you for dinner tonight. Oh. She visibly grimaces, clearly annoyed, but then her expression suddenly brightens as if she's had a bright idea. Well then, since it's a special occasion, how about we have Ana's birthday party a bit early today? Knowing I won't be home because of my part-time job, this sudden idea. It seems I'm not expected to be part of this party. I too wanted to celebrate my dear granddaughter's first birthday. So, I better start preparing for the party right away. I'll ask Matt to come home early. Without considering my feelings, Amy seemed happy. Okay, then Nancy, I'm going shopping, so please take care of Ana since you can't join the party, that's the least you can do. Using shopping as a reason, she's giving me time alone with Ana. How selfish can she be? Tired of arguing, I quickly took Ana from Amy and let her go shopping. And that evening, after finishing my unusual evening shift, I was walking home in the night. Coming back from shopping in the afternoon, Amy had me help with the party preparations, even though I couldn't even participate, doubling my fatigue. But it was Ana's celebration, and just thinking about Sam's happy face kept me motivated. Passing by the house, I noticed lights still on. Looking at the clock, it was already past 9 p.m. It was about time to put Sam to bed. Hopefully, she won't dump the cleanup on me. Thinking this, I glanced back at the house and saw a sight that made me do a double take. There was Sam, sitting alone in the garden, staring into the room. I couldn't understand what was happening. Why was Sam outside? I hurried to the entrance, rushing around the gate to the garden. Sam, what happened? As I approached, he gave me a relieved smile, then the next moment, his face crumpled as he started to cry. What's wrong? Why are you out here alone? I knew I shouldn't press too hard, but I couldn't stop myself. Sam, shaking, could only cry without answering. How about we go inside? Then, he looked at me with a surprised face, as if he wanted to say something. And then he started, sounding apologetic. Today is Anna's birthday, but it's supposed to be a family-only celebration, so I'm not allowed in, he muttered between sobs. What kind of thing is that to say? Unable to bear it, I silently pulled Sam's arm and started walking out the gate. The unthinkable had happened again. What's wrong, Grandma? Are you angry? Where are we going? Sam's voice, sounding anxious, brought me back to my senses. You haven't eaten anything since lunch, right? Grandma is tired from work too, and I'm hungry. Let's go eat something delicious. I spoke in my usual tone, as brightly as possible, to reassure Sam. Sensing something, Sam brightly responded. Taking a child to a diner at night. I was worried about being judged by those around us. But it seemed like neither the other customers nor even the staff were interested in us. Leaving Sam alone, I stood up from our table. I'm going to get some juice. Pretending to head to the drink station, I pulled out my cell phone. I haven't contacted them in a while, but will they pick up? After several rings, a puzzled voice answered, "Hello." I introduced myself and apologized for calling so late at night. Then, I briefly explained the situation Sam was in. The person on the phone said, "I'll head there right away," and hung up. When I returned to our table, Sam was eating the fries he had ordered. You took a while, huh? He looked at me anxiously while sipping on the melon soda I had placed on the table. I wasn't sure what you'd like to drink, I made an excuse, but Sam quickly changed his expression. I love melon soda, he said cheerfully, gulping it down. He's only supposed to be 5 years old. Even coming to a diner at this hour, he doesn't get overly excited. Quietly sitting alone at the table, even mindful of his adult-like expression, why does such a good kid? I was so frustrated, all I could do was watch Sam munch on his fries. After finishing his fries, Sam seemed a bit restless. Hey, how about this, shall we order a hamburger too? I suggested. I wonder if we'll get in trouble for not going home soon. Sam's expression was stern. Even so, we couldn't just go home yet. I wondered how to explain it to Sam. Just then, a woman entered the diner. I looked towards the entrance and raised my hand to the woman. Noticing us, the woman hurried over to our table. Who's that? Sam looked up at her with a puzzled expression. Unable to hold back her tears, she hugged Sam. The person I had called earlier was Sam's biological mother, Jessica. Mom, is that you? Sam seemed to remember as well. Matt and Jessica got divorced when Sam was 2 years old, which was 3 years ago. Yet, Sam remembered his real mother. She was the mother he had longed for so much when he first came to our home. And Jessica, too, had never for a moment forgotten about Sam. Waiting for the tearful reunion to calm down, I told Jessica everything that had happened. How Amy had been harsh to Sam. How he had accidentally spilled the powdered milk and was locked in the storage. And today, how he was excluded from Anna's birthday party for not being family. I'm sorry, I should have kept a closer eye on him. No, I mean, Nancy, you don't have to apologize, you've been protecting Sam, haven't you, and you called me. I had hesitated to call her here because Matt had told me that Jessica was divorced for having an affair. But she seemed different from what I had imagined. Since you're Sam's biological mother, I called you on a whim, but I wonder, was it a bother? I mean, if you had a new partner or other family members. Hesitantly, I asked for clarification. Then Jessica raised her voice. I don't have anyone, all I needed was Sam. What did she mean by that? When I shared the divorce story I had heard from Matt, Jessica's face went pale as she started to speak. Actually, it was Matt and that woman who were having an affair. While sadly looking at Sam's sleeping face, Jessica told me the truth. The affair between Matt and Amy began around the time Sam was born. Then, suddenly, a man claiming to be a lawyer appeared in front of Jessica. The man claiming to be a lawyer brought documents alleging Jessica's infidelity and neglect of Sam. Discussing alimony, the divorce from Matt, and subsequent child support. Jessica, who had no memory of such actions, had no one to turn to. Having lost her parents early, she was completely alone after marrying Matt and had drifted apart from her friends. Being a stay-at-home mom devoted to baby Sam, her interactions outside were limited to greetings with neighbors. In such isolated social circles, gathering evidence to refute the claims was challenging. I felt dizzy hearing this. You could have relied on me. But back then, the shock of being betrayed by Matt was too much, and I even doubted you. Jessica confessed, looking remorseful. Ashamed of what my son had done, I regretted not keeping in closer contact with Jessica at the time. I despised myself. Really, I'm so sorry, and now, are you, receiving the child support? Yes, my parents left me a little money. Plus, I found an opportunity at my old job before I got married, somehow. I've managed to make the payments for Sam without fail. I couldn't bear to hear anymore. Unaware of all this, I had been living comfortably with that couple. I don't even know how to begin apologizing. It's okay, now, you've done nothing wrong, Nancy. Besides, I've finally met Sam, that alone makes all the child support payments worth it. Jessica's expression was serene as she spoke. By the way, even though Matt has custody, hadn't you met Sam? I brought up something that had been bothering me for a while. As expected, Jessica's face darkened. Since the divorce was finalized, not even once, she answered in a faint voice. What a revelation. I could no longer control my emotions. Jessica, I've made up my mind, Sam's parents are not those two, it's only you, I won't let Sam be taken away from you anymore. Jessica looked at me in surprise. Then, as if strongly agreeing with my determination, she nodded firmly. It's not that I hadn't been doing anything, Jessica said, explaining that she had already hired a lawyer to contest the unjustly demanded child support and to claim alimony from Matt and Amy. According to the lawyer Jessica hired, the lawyer Matt and Amy arranged turned out not to be a lawyer at all, but just a friend. I'll help too, for Sam's sake. And so, late at night in the diner, Jessica and I formed a team. 3 months passed, and I continued my life as if nothing had happened. Always careful not to let any harm come to Sam. One day, Jessica and the lawyer came to our house. Though the two were surprised and flustered, I calmed them down and had them sit. What could possibly be the reason for today's visit? With Matt flustered on the side, Amy takes a bold stance. The reason for our visit today is to discuss the matter of seeking damages from you and Matt, as well as to talk about transferring the custody of Sam to us, Amy asserts with confidence. Jessica responds calmly, not to be outdone. Damages, you say, that must be referring to you, right? I've heard it from Matt. Amy says mockingly, as if to ridicule her ex-wife. Well, that would make sense, since you were the one who had an affair with Matt. What an outrageous accusation, I met Matt after you two had divorced. Matt could only listen silently to the exchange between his ex-wife and his current wife. Well, both of you, let's first hear from our lawyer here, he interjected. Though I knew everything, I pretended to be ignorant and subtly steered the conversation to Jessica's turn. Please take a look at this document first. The lawyer began, unfolding a report prepared by Amy and Matt, posing as a lawyer's findings. This is the e-report handed over by Matt's lawyer at the time Matt and Jessica divorced. What, that old thing, how does that serve as any evidence? Amy exclaimed, clearly flustered. And what about it? I too had consulted with a proper lawyer. Just as Matt was about to come to Amy's defense, Jessica's lawyer quickly interjected. Is that truly a lawyer? Which firm are they associated with? Ignoring Matt's speechlessness, the lawyer continued. Speaking as a fellow lawyer, this report lacks credibility. The evidence photos are clearly fabricated, and the testimonies about Jessica neglecting childcare are too ambiguous. But, that served as evidence, and she left Matt because of it. Amy persisted desperately. Indeed, Jessica did divorce rather passively at that time. However, the child support claims are too high. Moreover, despite paying child support regularly, you haven't allowed the child to see their father even once, have you? That's because Sam doesn't want to see her. There's no way that's true, I screamed inside my head. After the divorce, when Sam came to our house, I remember how desperately he was seeking his mother's presence. I started to tremble with anger. Even so, you did neglect childcare, right? Regardless of whether it's ambiguous, there were testimonies. Amy began, regaining some of her composure. Would you like to see the childcare diary I kept at the time? With that, Jessica pulled out a notebook. It was an unremarkable, well-used B5 size notebook. On the cover, it read, Sam's childcare diary. That can be filled in any time later, Amy said dismissively. However, as Jessica silently showed the contents of the notebook, the color drained from Amy's face. Inside were detailed entries of Sam's feeding records, diaper changes, sleep times, and at the end of each day, a short diary entry from Jessica. Messages to Sam were also found in any available space. Amy, who is raising her 1-year-old Anna, should understand. Could someone who neglects their childcare really keep such a detailed diary? Amy was speechless. And looking at Amy, Matt had an expression as if to say he was baffled. It must be hard to understand for someone who has never taken childcare seriously. In this part of the diary, there are entries about Matt, Jessica pointed out. What about me? Matt was already worn out. Like coming home late from work, or going on business trips, that sort of thing. Jessica added, in a tone that implied she knew more. That kind of diary content wouldn't expose an affair. Amy retorted, and she was right. A diary alone wouldn't count as evidence. That's where we had trouble. Amy looked triumphantly at Jessica, but the next moment, she began to falter as if she remembered something. I kept Matt's credit card statements. I found them tucked in the ledger after we divorced. Neither Amy nor Matt seemed inclined to object. On the day Matt said he was on a business trip and didn't come home, the statement had charges from a hot spring inn. Ignoring the silent pair, Jessica smoothly continued. And on the same day, there was a photo posted on a woman's social media. The hashtags included the inn's name and secret, among others. That's just a coincidence, surely, that could happen to anyone. Amy started to squirm. Yes, but this woman, despite talking about her secrets, was showing off her possessions quite openly. Jessica pressed on steadily. This watch in the photo, it's Matt's, isn't it? Amy and Matt felt a jolt as if the sound of their hearts could be heard. Such watches are common, aren't they? Oh, I see. Amy didn't know. This was a gift from me and my husband to Jessica and Matt when they got married. It's a pair of watches, completely custom-made. I interjected, pretending to be clueless. That can't be. After a moment of silence. I've had enough. Matt said in a defeated voice. Jessica gave the lawyer a cue. Since the person involved has admitted, that makes things easier for us. We'll proceed with a settlement without going to mediation. I won't admit to anything, I'll even go to court. Amy was furious, but the lawyer continued. Then, shall we discuss the matter of the fake report created by the pseudo-lawyer? We have already heard from this pseudo-lawyer, you know. That traitor. It turns out the so-called pseudo-lawyer was Amy's friend and ex-boyfriend. He apparently had been funneling the alimony and child support from Jessica to himself. After we brought up the charge of a forgery of private documents, he told us everything, the lawyer explained. Amy seemed to have no energy left to argue. Through the gap in the sliding door, Sam peeked in. Mom, what's wrong? It's nothing, replied Jessica, her face clear and relieved. Let's go home, to our new home, just you and me, Sam. Later, it was decided that the case would go to court instead of being settled. This time, it seems they hired a real lawyer. But the outcome was clear. Custody of Sam was transferred to Jessica. Matt and Amy's past actions were deemed criminal. In addition, they were ordered to return the substantial alimony and child support they had obtained through the forged documents, along with paying alimony and child support to Jessica. In this affair, Matt and Amy blamed each other, ultimately leading to their divorce. Amy was disowned by her family, and Anna was taken in by her grandparents. Now, burdened with debt and reportedly fallen into the sex industry, Amy's predicament seems self-inflicted. Of course, I've also cut ties with Matt. Who would take care of a criminal? I've sold the house we lived in and now live a comfortable life on my own. I'm not interested in where Amy is or what she's doing now, though I've heard her payments to Jessica are still being made. And Jessica. She and Sam sometimes come to visit my house. Now, we're like friends. Turns out, she had a good vibe with that lawyer from back then. When she visits, she often seeks relationship advice, and it seems she gets along well with Sam too. One day, while Jessica was asking me for relationship advice as usual, Sam suddenly said, "Mom, I like it when you smile, and I have the most fun when it's you, me, and that guy together." A year has passed since then. Today is the day Sam and Jessica come to visit. I couldn't wait and went down to the entrance of the apartment to meet them. Soon, I see the two of them walking towards me. Sam is holding Jessica's hand, taking care of her as they walk. Such a kind child. "Nancy, did you come all the way down to meet us? Thank you." "It's okay, I was looking forward to it too, and..." I say this as I take Jessica's bag, looking at her grown belly. "You're not just one person anymore. I can't wait to meet the baby, Dad is looking forward to it too." Seeing their happy faces, I smile. Outside, the air is warm with the breath of spring.